Hey, it is 12 noon on Wednesday, which means it's time for this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. I'm John Christman. This show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. This show is for our past students, our current students, and our future students, possibly you if you haven't been one of our students before. And this is how we help you understand the technical side of the real estate industry, which the topics that we cover here are things that are nitty-gritty. It builds on stuff you learned from the course, and we're looking at this on a deeper level. We get a lot of these questions from our prospective students. We get them from our current students, whether it's the classroom course, the online course. If you're interested in any of our course offerings or anything like that, make sure you check out tampaschool.com or give us a call at 813-928-0106. You'll find all that info down at this bar at the bottom. What we're talking about today is a topic that's really great for your long-term success in real estate, especially when you're first getting started, or at least first getting started at this, because a lot of agents will start their real estate career without doing any of this, and that's farming. Farming is focusing your marketing and your efforts onto a particular area. And there's been people that have said, oh, farming's a waste of time, farming's dead, this is how you should go about getting business. And there are some pros and cons to farming, but the pros, especially in the long run, absolutely outweigh the cons. So we're going to be talking about farming, kind of what it is, how to pick a neighborhood to farm, how to farm that neighborhood, and how to use the advanced technology that's available today in advertising to farm that neighborhood. We'll be talking about how to turn your audience and the leads that you get from this farming area into clients, and then how to maintain that relationship as your business progresses years down the road. So we've got a great episode for you guys today. If you have to miss part of this at all, again, make sure you go to tampaschool.com/success. That's tampaschool.com/success. You'll be able to view the full live recording of today's episode. So again, that's tampaschool.com/success. We're going to be back after our quick little intro here. I'm John Christmo. You're watching Ask the Instructor.
You are watching
Ask the Instructor every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern Time. I'm John Christmo. You're watching Ask the Instructor. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. I'm John Christmo. This show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. We do this show every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern Time. If you're not subscribed yet, do yourself a favor and subscribe to our Instagram, to our Facebook, to our YouTube, to our Success Center, wherever it is that you want to take in this knowledge every week at 12 noon Eastern Time. And also don't forget about our show on Fridays, State of Real Estate at 12 noon, where we talk a little bit more about masterminding and growing your business. But a lot of times, these two shows kind of almost merge together in the topics that we're covering here, because they're really two sides of the same coin. The higher level thinking stuff is typically on Fridays, State of Real Estate, and the more technical, more detail-oriented stuff, that's what we cover on Wednesdays with Ask the Instructor. And this is a live stream, so if you guys have questions about any of these topics, questions really about anything, even if it's slightly off topic, I could probably make it related to what we're talking about. So feel free to ask those, put that in the live chat. I've got the Facebook and the YouTube and the Instagram all loaded up here so we can check the comments and answer your guys' questions live on the air. And if I don't answer your question right away, don't worry. I probably just haven't seen it yet, and I will answer it for you guys on the show, or if it's right towards the end of the show, I'll put it in the comments for an answer for you guys after the fact. But what we're talking about today is farming. So farming is a tried and true and very old method of getting business in real estate. When I say the word farming to a non-real estate person, a layman for what they call that, but for somebody who doesn't understand the real estate industry, farming means, growing crops on a farm. The reason why they call this term farming is because it's very relatable to the job of a farmer. Except for you're not cultivating fruits and vegetables, you're cultivating clients. That's what you're doing with real estate farming. You're planting your seeds, you're watering the seeds, you're fertilizing the seeds, you're tending the plants until that plant produces a harvest, until it produces some sort of, if you're a real farmer, a fruit or a vegetable, but if you're in real estate, your farming efforts are producing you a transaction. So that's what farming does. And now farming is really the root of any sort of real estate marketing. And now why I say it's the root? Because farming is what ties you down to a particular neighborhood. So let's say we've got a city here. I'll just use an old-fashioned kind of looking grid type of city. And let's say this is the neighborhood that you're farming. And let's say, or let's not say you're farming. Let's say you advertise here, and then next week you advertise over here, and then next week you advertise over here, and then next week you advertise over here. This is the way a lot of marketers, not just in real estate, but in all industries, market their product or service. Is they'll just, market to anyone that'll listen. Now, with farming, what farming says is we're not going to be marketing to all these different neighborhoods. We're going to pick one single neighborhood, and we're going to market to them again and 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 again until it gets us business. And even if it's gotten us business already, we're still marketing, we're still going, we're still marketing to them. Now notice that saturation you're getting. If you marketed once here, and that's it, you're just once in these one places, where are you more likely to get business from? The people that have seen you once here, or maybe the people that have seen you once here, the people that saw your letter you sent them once and tossed it, the people over here that saw your Facebook ad and just scrolled past it, the people over here that saw your pay-per-click ad and just scrolled past it, or the people here in this neighborhood who you're specifically targeting, and you're constantly throwing all your marketing efforts at that one particular neighborhood. You're sending mailers to the neighborhood. You're targeting your Facebook advertising to a certain radius of a certain address, which you could absolutely do. It's absolutely possible. So you could even, don't get it wrong, farming is a very old school method, but you could use these new school techniques, the Facebook advertising, these very complex and advanced digital advertising platforms. They absolutely can be part of your farming program. And again, the farming is what gives you roots. It's what ties your marketing into a particular neighborhood. Because if you're sending mailers, if you're sending your Facebook ads and targeting the Facebook ad, if you're advertising all over the entire city, you're going to have a bunch of people that maybe see your ad maybe once, maybe twice. But on average, it takes 7 to 9 times. And that's not me making up this number. This is from a Harvard study. 7 to 9 times for recognition. So 7 to 9 times it takes to recognize your brand, your face, your name, your image, whatever it is that you're marketing to them, 7 to 9 times for them to make a connection. So your one-off marketing, if you market once here, 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 and you're just throwing stuff all over the place, you're not going to get a return on your investment. You might get lucky because it's absolutely possible. It's unlikely, but it is possible to market once here and get a deal. That's possible, but it's very unlikely. It's the equivalent of buying one lottery ticket or one scratch off and hitting the jackpot on your first time. It's absolutely possible. There's stories of that happens to people all the time. But that's not a way to rely on income. If you're relying on income, if you see the people that are constantly playing scratch-offs or constantly playing the lottery, that's not, yeah, you might get a big jackpot once in a while, but it's not really a way to live. It's not going to provide you the flow and the stream it is that you need because you're relying on luck and just trying to beat the odds. Which, yeah, if you advertise enough all over this entire map, then this entire map becomes your farm area, but that's expensive, especially when you're first starting out in real estate or you're first starting out with marketing and advertising and farming. There could be people that have been, I've known people that have been in real estate 5-10 years that they've never really done any sort of marketing. They've just been more about the prospecting way to get business. They've been more about the more aggressive direct ways, but that could burn you out. The farming, it takes a lot longer to get it up and running. It takes a lot longer to make it stable. But the reward, when you're doing it correctly, will really pay off in the long run. So farming is something you want to start as early as you can. But the problem is with farming, it's expensive. And even you could couple in these other strategies. You could not just send direct marketing, send mail and Facebook ads and Google ads and target that all along this particular address here, but you could also go out and door knocking or cold calling or holding open houses. So you could do those prospecting activities, but the best place to do those are in your farm area because you want to saturate the market. You want to make it so when people think real estate, it's your name that pops into their head first. It's your brand, it's your face, it's your image, it's your logo that they think of first. And don't think you have to go crazy designing a perfect logo. You don't have to be FedEx and spend over $1 million designing a logo. You don't have to do any of that stuff. You just have to have something memorable with your face alone. That's why so many realtors that you'll see just have their face on their business card. And really that's all you need because your face is recognizable. People will remember faces. It's hard for them to remember names. It's hard for them to remember the more visual you make something, the better. But really, nothing's more visual than your face. Your face should be in your email signature. It should be in your business card. It should be on your contact if you share your contact, or if you have a mobile business card thing. It should be on your letters. It should be on your postcards. My recommendation is using your face. That's the easiest. That's the most cost effective because you go spend $40-$50, go get a nice headshot. If even you're spending that much money, maybe your broker's offering headshots for free, or maybe you're spending $15-$20 to have a friend do it or something. Just get something that looks good. At the most, maybe $50. Maybe you're going to go do a glamour shot where they get you all maked up and caked up and make you looking really taking 15-20 years off your face. Maybe something like that. That's maybe like $100. But I mean, we're not talking a huge investment to really get something that's going to be the symbol of your brand. And now this is a people business. This is a people business in real estate. People buy people, and especially in real estate, are they looking for a person that they can trust? That's one of the top priorities of clients when they're choosing a real estate agent. And it's not the first thing that they're thinking about. It's just something they have to think about. And really the one thing that's important to them is, can I trust this person? Can I trust this person? They may also be worried about the cost and things and some other things, but the number one priority is, can I trust this person? And the way to establish trust, how often have you walked up to somebody on the street and said hi to them and they've immediately trusted you? That's ridiculous. It doesn't happen. But maybe think of some brands that you trust. Some brands that you've had good experiences with, or for whatever reason, it's just they're a trusting brand to you, that you know that they have your best interest at heart, despite that you're a customer of them. And now think of why you think of that company that way. And there may be a lot of things that go along with it, but the least common denominator is that you know them. You know who they are. You know they're not going anywhere. You know that there's somebody you could go to there. And that's the type of image it is that you want to convey to your farm area. So again, to sum this all up, the goal of the farm area is to route your advertising into a particular neighborhood, to tie it down, to say, okay, this is the neighborhood I want to target. I'm going to saturate this market. I'm going to do so much advertising in this particular area. People won't be able to sleep without thinking about John sells houses, or whatever it is you're calling your website, or your domain, or what's in your advertising, or whatever message it is that you're trying to get across. You want to really kind of keep hammering it in. It's, if you've ever hammered a nail in before, you usually can't do it with just one swing. And usually that first swing of just kind of starting to get wedged in there is usually the most difficult. And that's where most people kind of get hung up on this, is getting that first swing in and getting that first driver of that nail into the wood, or whatever it is you're nailing into. It takes multiple times of hammering over and over again. Persistence is the ultimate winner with farming. So now that you guys have an understanding of what farming is, we need to talk about how you choose a neighborhood for farming. Now that you know what it is that we're doing, we're going to tie in, okay, what is your budget for advertising? We're going to tie in, okay, let's make sure that we're not spending hundreds of thousands of dollars in advertising over 10 years, only to find out that this neighborhood is a dud of a neighborhood, because those do exist, neighborhoods where people aren't as likely to buy or sell as other neighborhoods. So that exists, and that's why it's very extremely important, because if you're moving your farm area, it defeats the purpose of farming. Farming is there to root you into a particular neighborhood, so it's important that you choose the right neighborhood when you start your farming efforts. So we're going to be talking about that, but we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be back in less than 2 minutes. I'm John Cursmo. You're watching Ask the Instructor.
Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com.
Does your current career allow for unlimited income potential? With a career in real estate, the sky is the limit. What you put in is what you get out. Find out more about how you can tap into the unlimited income potential of a career in real estate at tampaschool.com.
Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You are watching
Ask the Instructor. Every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern Time. I'm John Cursmo. You're watching Ask the Instructor. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. I'm John Cursmo, and every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern Time, we come to you live to help you get a better understand our previous students, our current students, and our future students, to get a better understanding of the technical side of the real estate industry. And real estate is a very technical industry. You don't have to know all the technical stuff, but the more it is that you know, the easier your job's going to be, and the easier your job is, the more money it is that you can make. If this job is the hardest job in the world, you're going to have a hard time making money, but when you make it easier, and the way you make it easier is by learning more information. So what we're talking about today is a topic that's crucial to your long-term success, and that's farming. So we talked about before the break what it is. And if you missed that, make sure you go to tampaschool.com/success after the show. You'll be able to go and rewatch that and get some of the details of that. But ultimately what farming is taking all your advertising strategy and directing it towards a single neighborhood. Not just marketing across multiple neighborhoods and doing one here, one there, but saturating a single market, a single neighborhood, a single street even. Because we're going to talk about that now in choosing a farm area, of making sure that you're choosing a farm area that you're able to effectively farm. You might start with an area over here, but if there's 10,000 homes in this particular neighborhood, that's going to be an expensive area to farm, even just one time, even just to send out one mailer, or send out one advertisement, or whatever that may be. That's going to be expensive to send that out just one time. So sometimes you've got to start with a very small farm area, because the important it's not the quantity of people you're marketing to, it's the quantity of the repetitions of how many times it is that you're marketing to them that's important. And even if you're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars marketing to this farm area over and over and over and over again for the years, there's still a chance that you might not break even. It could be just that your marketing's not good, but it also could be that this is not a good neighborhood for a farm area. So one of the things, so Kevin J. Eastman commented in over on Facebook, and he's got a good point, that farm in the area that you like to hang out in, farm in the neighborhood it is that you live in, farm in an area it is that you like, that you live in, because you're already there. It makes it a little bit easier. And that's a great place to start off on, but before you spend a penny farming in your neighborhood or in your area, in the area it is that you like, you've got to ask yourself the question, is this a good farm area? Because like I said, not all farm areas are created equal. Not all farm areas are created equal. There's some neighborhoods that'll give you a great return on investment for marketing to them, and other neighborhoods where, unfortunately, that's not the case. Because sometimes it's a multitude of reasons. Maybe the type of people living in this neighborhood are not people that move around very often. They're people that are very settled in that neighborhood. Or maybe it's a neighborhood where the cycles of the market have flipped the values around and it makes it hard. Now, you don't really have to understand the why. You just need to understand, is this a good farm area? So what do we use to determine if this is a good farm area? So a couple different things you want to keep in mind. The number one thing to keep in mind, and the first thing you want to check before you spend any money or really spend any time or effort as well, because time and effort is really just as good as money. There's actually an even more finite supply of time and effort than there is actual money in the world, so that's really the more valuable commodity here. But either way, money or time that you're spending, you want to make sure that you're able to get a return on your investment. So the number one thing you need to always look for is, what is the turnover? The percent of turnover. Now, when I say turnover, that means how many homes sell in a year. What percentage of homes sell in that particular neighborhood over the course of 1 year? And the number, the ideal that you should be looking for, really, the larger the better. The higher the percent of turnover is, typically the better. But the ideal, just to pick a number, and you might not be able to find this in your particular market, because not every market will have this high of a turnover in certain neighborhoods, but you might be able to dial into a certain neighborhood for whatever reason. Again, it's not important to know the reason, at least not yet. It'll maybe help you better understand the people better when you're drafting your marketing. But what you want to find first is, okay, are the people actually selling in this neighborhood? So the ideal is going to be 10% and up. The ideal is at least 10%. At least 10% of the homes in the neighborhood are selling over the course of a year. So let's say you picked a neighborhood of 100 homes. So if this neighborhood, if this farm area has 100 homes, how many need to have sold in the last 12 months? That's 10. So if you're looking at a 100-home farm area where there's been 10 sales, that's a pretty hot neighborhood. That's a neighborhood where you could get some good return on your investment. So again, you want to shoot for that ideal of 10% or better. Now, if there's a neighborhood where there's 20 sales out of 100 homes, that's probably even better of a neighborhood. And that's maybe the better place for you to market and farm in. Now, that's how is it that we go about this? Before we talk about this second part of this, of okay, what are some other things to keep in mind? How do we figure out what this turnover is? So there's a lot of tools available online to find out how many homes there are in a neighborhood, and then also when you're a realtor and have access to the MLS, this is actually a pretty easy statistic to find for you. But finding these number of homes, you could check in the USPS, the United States Postal Service, Every Door Direct Mail tool. That's a free tool you could use online. I mean, not free for sending the mail, but free to kind of check out this stuff and get to know how many homes there are there. And also a great way to get discounts when you're mailing to every single door like that in a particular neighborhood. So you want to find how many homes there are. And that could even just be as simple as you're just counting the individual lots in the MLS system. So if you want to do it the real old-fashioned way, Realist has some great tools for finding that information as well. But that's basically, you want to find out how many homes there are, and then you turn to the MLS and you say, okay, well, how many homes sold in this neighborhood? And that's the number one thing it is that you want to look at. What are those sales at in this neighborhood? But then at the same time, and now this is your leading metric, this percent of turnover. But what else you want to look at is the percent of expired listings, percent of withdrawn listings, and then maybe also percent of pending listings as well, because that's kind of in this in-between stage of maybe becoming a sale, and probably will become a sale, but I'm not sure on that yet. So that one is, since it's up in the air, it's not real concrete data. I usually don't look at the pending listings. My number one I'm looking at is, okay, how many homes sold in this neighborhood? And that's usually going to be the key thing it is I go off. If I see a number that's over 10%, I'm like, all right, this looks like a good place to market to. But some of the other things that you do want to pay attention to is, okay, how many listings expired? What's the percentage of expired listings? Because what that tells you, if there's an expired listing, and same thing for the withdrawn, more so with the expired, but the withdrawn also typically means this as well, the home wasn't able to sell. Both of these means the home didn't sell. But now, why did the home not sell? Now, withdrawn, that could just mean that they've changed their mind and they've decided not to sell. Maybe they decided to become a landlord instead, or who knows what that may be that made it become withdrawn. It could be because they weren't able to sell the home and they wanted to save face and not have it have that black label of expired on it, that dark, ominous expired symbol that you see on a listing. Because when you see expired, that means nobody wanted to buy the house, at least not at the price that it was listed for. So the more expireds that you see, and now this is helpful when you're trying to compare neighborhoods. Maybe you've got two neighborhoods that have a 10% turnover ratio with 10% of the homes that have sold, but looking at the expired, one neighborhood has twice the amount of expireds as the other. That tells you that people aren't as excited to buy homes in that neighborhood compared to the other neighborhood. Now, a third metric you want to look at is the average home price. So that average price, and now these are all secondary metrics, but it helps give you a better, fuller picture of this particular neighborhood. And you know, I'm a big person for you know, just going out there and taking action and just going out there. So I'm almost wanting to say, hey, look, just find out if it's got a good turnover. If it does, go for it. And you know that you'll probably be in good shape if it's got a good turnover. But when you're committing to this neighborhood for the long term, for 10, 20, for the rest of your real estate career, that's where you want to be sure that this is a neighborhood that's going to give you a return on investment. And the more research it is that you do that, the more you'll find out that it is or that it is not. Or at least, this shouldn't be the defining factor of whether or not you farm an area, but which area it is that you're farming. You're looking at, okay, how many expireds, how many withdrawns, what's the average sale price? Because if the average sale price is $50,000, and if you're not a $50,000 transaction type of real estate professional, you're not going to enjoy farming that neighborhood. So farm a neighborhood that you want to be able to sell homes for. Look at that average price, and that's usually a big factor. It's definitely second to the percent of turnover. And as you get higher in price, that turnover percentage is going to get smaller because the homes are larger, there's less people that can afford these homes. So keep that in mind, that as you go higher in price, that average is going to drop down. But it might be worth it because there's typically a lot bigger payday at the end of this year. I mean, so you might be looking at $400,000, or $400,000 doesn't really get you excited. Maybe look at $500,000, $600,000, $700,000. Maybe look at $1 million plus neighborhoods. Just be prepared for what that entails. Again, there's going to be a lower turnover. The sale time takes longer. There might be more expired and withdrawn listings, again, just because there's a lot smaller market that can afford the higher priced homes. And then also make sure you're equipped for that. So on the opposite end of this, we said, oh, well, maybe you don't want to deal with the $50,000. There's a lot of $50,000 transactions out there, and these are investor clients, which it's a lot less emotional of a process typically than dealing with a retail purchaser. So you've got to understand the type of market it is and the type of people and the type of transactions it is that you're seeking out by choosing this farm area. So let's say that you want to pick the $700,000 neighborhood. You better be equipped to market a $700,000 house effectively. Because somebody buying a $700,000 house or an $800,000 or $900,000 or $1 million house doesn't want to buy a house that looks like they don't want to even come see it. Because if they don't come see it, if they don't make an appointment to come see it, they're not buying it. So you've got to make that home look very attractive. And that's why when you see these $1 million listings, you see how great of a job they do at marketing them, because that's so essential. A $50,000 house, yeah, you could probably get a little bit higher price by marketing it higher, but that's less of an issue. People are more buying that for being a deal, or because that's maybe all they can afford or something like that, rather than anything further. So one other thing that you've got to pay attention to is the days on market. And with the days on market, this kind of goes hand in hand with that percent of expired. Between these two metrics, between the percentage of expired and the days on market. Now, days on market, the shorter, the smaller, the better. The shorter that days on market is, the more likely the homes are going to sell quickly. And you want to find homes that are going to sell quickly. That makes your job easy. If there's a lot of demand for the neighborhood, this days on market is going to be very short. So you look at that across the different listings, and that also gives you an idea of what this average price point is. So all of this data, all of these numbers kind of mesh together to give you a comprehensive picture of how effective this market is going to be for farming, whether you're going to get a lot of return on investment or you're not. But either way, you could have picked the best farm area in the world and gone through all this data and say, okay, it's got a 20% turnover, there's no expireds, the average days on market is 7, and the average price is $700,000. This is hot dog, this is the farm area for me. It's the dream farm area. So you find this perfect farm area, now it's time to execute. This is a very small part. This maybe shouldn't take you more than an hour or two to go through and search. The first thing you need to look for, so just to make this quick, because you want to try to keep this under an hour. You don't want to be spending all day when you could be actually out there earning business and making money, because this isn't a money-making activity. This is a planning to make money activity. The first thing you've got to do, okay, identify the neighborhoods with the highest turnover. That's number one. That's most important. What's that percent of turnover? Which neighborhoods have the highest percent of turnover? Now you look at these secondary factors. Okay, let's eliminate the ones that are not in a price point that I wouldn't be excited about. Let's eliminate the 50,000, 75,000, because I know that's great. You can work with investors, but let's say I don't want to work with that. I want to work with this price of home. So find the neighborhoods that still have those high turnover rates that are in that average price point that you're looking for. And then once you've found that, okay, let's just kind of confirm some things here. Let's check out the days on market, and let's check out the expired and withdrawns to make sure that, okay, yeah, there is a lot of turnover here, but let's make sure it's not just everyone's trying to move out and a lot of people aren't having a good time at moving out. So between all this data, it'll help get you the comprehensive picture, but start with the turnover. If a neighborhood does not have a high turnover, don't waste your time farming it or spend any time planning to farm it if that turnover isn't good. That's the number one thing you want to look for, and that's going to help save you time in picking a good, strong farm area. Is, okay, does it have a good turnover? Yes, it does. Perfect. Okay, what's the average price? Oh, well, let's eliminate these ones here because they're not outside of my average price. And maybe you still have a couple options. Now we're looking for, okay, what is the shortest days on market and the lowest percentage of expires and withdrawns? So that just helps make it easy. And yeah, it's great to farm an area it is that you work in, but if that neighborhood it is that you work in, that you live in, has a 1% turnover or 0.5% turnover, you know, it doesn't really matter too much that you love it. If you love it, probably everyone else loves it too, and they don't want to move. So if being that you live in the neighborhood or you hang out a lot in that neighborhood and it meets all these characteristics, you're good to go. That's maybe something to consider, but that's second to all this information. We're going to take another quick commercial break, but we'll be back in less than 2 minutes. John Carissimo, you're watching Ask the Instructor.
Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com.
Does your current career allow for unlimited income potential? With a career in real estate, the sky is the limit. What you put in is what you get out. Find out more about how you can tap into the unlimited income potential of a career in real estate at tampaschool.com.
Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You are watching
Ask the Instructor. Every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. I'm John Carissimo, and this show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. Every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern Time, we come to you live through your phones, through your tablets, into your TVs, the Rokus, the Apple TVs, all that good stuff. You can catch us on YouTube, on Facebook. This is for our current students, as well as our past students, as well as our future students. Even if you haven't enrolled yet, we're not going to tell anyone. You could still tune in. You could still find out about all this real estate information that's going to help take your real estate career to the next level. Real estate is all about the knowledge it is that you have. That's why there's a state-required course to get your real estate license. If you're thinking about taking that course, give us a call. We'll tell you all about it. We've got a great online program with a great demo you can check out if you're thinking about doing that. Give us a call at 813-928-0106 or check out our website at tampaschool.com. You can find out all that information on there. But let's talk a little bit more about farming. So the first segment, we talked about what farming is. It's marketing to a specific area. And if you're going to dedicate your marketing efforts to a specific area, you better be sure that this is an area that you're going to be able to get a return on investment on. And it doesn't matter just that you like the neighborhood. There's a lot of neighborhoods that I like, and the more likable neighborhoods typically have lower turnover rates because it's not just you that likes them, it's everyone that likes them. So keep that in mind. The numbers don't lie. You've heard that term before. The numbers don't lie. These will tell you if this is going to be a financially good, if this is going to be a smart farm area for you to market to. So the turnover, that's the most important. And let's say we've gone through all this. If you missed any of that stuff from the previous segment, go to tampaschool.com/success after the show. That's tampaschool.com/success. You'll be able to watch the recording of this and catch all the stuff, all the details it is that you might have missed from the first half of the show here. But this is all for choosing that right farm area. Now let's say you've chosen the best farm area. Now what's important is executing, is executing and following through on that farm area. So let's talk about the different ways it is that you could market to this particular farm area. So once you have identified, okay, this is a hot neighborhood. This is a neighborhood that's got a lot of turnover. I know what farming is. Now what do I do to execute the farming? So number one thing, and this is really dating back to the beginnings, to the origins of farming. So really honorable mention that we're sticking this up at the top, and it still works today. It's maybe a little bit more expensive than some sort of online or digital advertising that could have a little bit cheaper cost for every impression that you make. But this is still a very strong way to market to a farm area, and that's through mail. Good old post office. I'm not talking about email, although that's good too, but still probably not even as good. It's good because it's free, or close to free if you're using some sort of email program that allows you to do this automatically. But the good old post office, people still check their mail. And with as much stuff that comes in digitally, people almost get excited about getting something in the mail. Especially when it's a nice looking like little postcard or a letter that's hand signed or maybe hand addressed or something. There's all kinds of different ways that you could stand out in somebody's mailbox. And yes, it's an antiquated method. Yes, it's a dated method. I don't want to say outdated because it still works today. So again, you could have maybe a postcard that goes out. And now for these postcards that you're sending out, what type of postcards is it that you're going to send? Should you just send postcards that say, hey, I do real estate, call me if you need to sell your house? That may work. It's better than nothing. Don't get me wrong, that's better than nothing. But how do we make a more compelling postcard? A postcard that they want to look at. Something that seems like a piece of artwork almost. But not just like crazy stuff that doesn't tie in. You've got to get the best of both worlds here. You've got to kind of correlate in your call to action along with whatever creative that you're using on this. So for this postcard, the best types of postcards to send out are just sold. Really just sold, I'd probably put at the top of the list out of all these other ones here, because that shows that, hey, look, I'm a realtor and I'm actually selling stuff. I'm actually doing realtor things. I'm actually out there servicing clients. People see that, wow, look, they just sold this house. We should call this person. But again, you've got to make sure you're balancing the creative side of this as well One side of this postcard should be a really nice flashy picture of this house, a nice beautiful full color picture with the high gloss. Spend the extra money for the high gloss on this here because that'll make it stand out a little bit more. They'll see that and they'll say, wow, this is it'll stand out to them because it's kind of, semi-reflective, so especially if they pull it out in the sunlight, they'll be blinded almost by the glossiness of this coating on there. But then they see this beautiful home that's laying behind it, they flip it over, and then they see your contact information and see that I sold this house in 20 days and call me if you want me to do the same for you. That is a compelling advertisement. Not your little postcards that say, hey, look, do you need to sell a house? I could help you sell a house. I've sold houses before as well. No. Send them the nice, pretty house. That's what people get excited about. People, I hate to break it to you, but as a realtor, people don't dream about working with a realtor. They dream about the house they want to buy. So give them what it is that they want. Give them that postcard that shows the picture. And same thing, this same rule applies if you're advertising online, whether it's Facebook ads or Google display ads or videos. That's what you want to have. You want to showcase the real estate because people are going to look at that home and say, oh, would I want to live here? Does this look like a nice house for me? Oh yeah, this is good. So that's the just sold. And now let's say you don't have any just solds yet. Maybe you just started out. What can you do? Do you have any listings? If you've got a listing, you could say just listed. It's not as strong as just sold, but it still shows that, hey, I'm out there. These people trusted me to list their house. You should too. Now, you don't want to kind of say it that way. Maybe you could. Maybe kind of emphasize that in some way there. Maybe not saying that directly. But that's really the theme of this here. And I'm not saying you should just do one of these. Remember, with your farm area, it's the repetition. It's the 7 to 9 times. Notice how I have not erased that 7 to 9 times when I wrote that from the beginning of this episode, because that's so important to keep in mind with your farming. You need 7 to 9 impressions in order for them to remember you. So, a couple more that you could do. Let's say you don't have any listings yet. Have you talked to somebody maybe? Maybe you could get somebody's permission that you've gone on a listing appointment, but you weren't able to get the listing, but you could say, hey, look, I'd love to kind of start marketing your property now because I know it'll sell quickly. Do you mind if I send out a picture? I won't put the address or any of your contact information so they won't know where to find it, but I just want to kind of gauge how fast we could sell this house. Would you mind if I do that? And now you get their permission and you put out a postcard that says, coming soon. And a lot of agents, they would say, what do you mean? I'm supposed to send out a postcard to sell their house and they haven't even signed a listing agreement yet? Oh, no, not me. No, I'm not spending a penny for this client until I've got an agreement signed for them because I'm big time. Well, are you big time? Because if you're big time, you should know that these postcards aren't to advertise the houses for sale. It's a very, very small chance that anybody that sees these postcards will be so interested that they'll want to buy that property, but they may want to buy a property or they may want to sell their property. And really, these postcards, they're not to get your client sales. I mean, that's a win-win. And I mean, if you've got a client, if you've got somebody that called you and they say, hey, I want this house, I need this house, you could tell that seller, hey, look, I've got a client that's ready. Look, are you ready to sign that listing agreement? That's going to be a pretty compelling reason to get them to sign that agreement. But most of the purpose of this isn't for the clients. It's for you, to gain you business, to grow your business, because you'll get calls from all three of these that aren't for, hey, is there any way you could unsell that house? I want to buy that house. Well, no, that's a funny question. But I've got some other houses that look just like that. Would you want to check them out? So even if you got that ridiculous situation, you've struck up a conversation, you have an opportunity to introduce yourself in person to this person and actually do business with them. So use those just solds, the just listeds, the coming soon. And this could be through mail. This could be through Facebook. I like to talk about this through mail because everyone knows what a postcard looks like. This could be a letter. This could be all kinds of different things. It could be a Facebook post, and not just a Facebook post that you're posting from your personal profile for your friends to see and that's it. No, a boosted post that's out there for millions of people to see, not just one person. Really targeting that to your farm area, because in Facebook it has the tools where you just say, I want to advertise within so many miles of this particular address, within 1 mile of this address or whatever that may be. So you could advertise on Facebook that way. You could advertise with Google pay-per-click. And with that, maybe you have to have some sort of landing page or something like that, and you've got a home showing right at the top. Again, just sold in 30 days, sold in 29 days. I could do the same for you. Fill out the contact form below, something like that, that again, like I said, really helps emphasize, that tells the story that, hey, I'm not just here to try to sell you services. I'm out here doing services. You want my services? Call me. That's really the essence of farming. That you're not out there chasing after the clients, you're getting the clients to chase after you. That's what you want to keep in mind with the farming. But in order to get them to chase after you, because if you're saying call me, you're begging them to chase, you're almost chasing after them. You're kind of saying, hey, come on, you want to come get me? Come on, come get me. But by doing this, you're saying, oh yeah, I'm selling houses. Come catch me if you can. I might be in your neighborhood this day. Call me. Something like that. That's again, kind of changing that mindset. It makes your job a lot easier because now they're willing to research about you. They're willing to find out about you and do all this other stuff in advance, so you don't have to do the selling on yourself. They're already sold on you when you're farming correctly. But now, it's still important to be able to turn these clients it is that you're marketing to into leads, or these leads it is that you're marketing to into clients, this audience that you're marketing to actually turn them into clients. Because this all falls apart. You could be sending out all these great postcards, but if you're not good at turning these leads into clients, again, you're going to get bad return on investment. It's going to be a waste of your money. We're going to take a quick commercial break, but in less than 2 minutes, we'll be back talking about how to turn these leads into clients and actually make money finally off of this farming strategy we were talking about for the last 45 minutes. So stick with us. I'm John Chrismo. You're watching Ask the Instructor.
Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com.
Does your current career allow for unlimited income potential? With a career in real estate, the sky is the limit. What you put in is what you get out. Find out more about how you can tap into the unlimited income potential of a career in real estate at tampaschool.com.
Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You are watching
Ask the Instructor. Every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern Time. I'm John Chrismo. You're watching Ask the Instructor. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. I'm John Chrismo, and this show is brought to you on behalf of the Tampa School of Real Estate. This is for our past students, for our current students, and don't worry if you're not a student of us yet, it's also for our future students. Maybe you've already have your license, but you still need to do continuing education or post-licensing. Come talk to us. We'll give you the best continuing education and post-licensing there is in the world. If you're thinking about getting your real estate license, come talk to us as well. You can call us at 813-928-0106. Again, that's 813-928-0106. We've got that phone number floating throughout this bar down at the bottom. You'll see that. And also our website, tampaschool.com. Again, that's tampaschool.com. So while we're on break here, we got a question on Facebook from Mark Vansko, and he's asking a question which first read it, I was like, well, wait, what is he saying here? So he's asking, what are the risks of an untapped market? So maybe going into a market where there's no one else marketing in that. And I think that's what you're meaning by an untapped market, Mark. So if that's otherwise, let me know in the comments and we could kind of change that up. But if you've got a market where there's no one else marketing in there, I mean, the risk, the downside of that is you're going to have a lot higher return on investment. You're going to get a lot more business off of your marketing efforts there. And when that's happening, you might get overwhelmed. So that's the risk. If we're talking about a market where there's not enough people advertising it and when there's really no one advertising it as a real estate professional. The other risk, let's say you're talking about with an untapped market, a market where there's not a lot of turnover. So that's something you do want to absolutely worry about. If there's not a lot of turnover in that neighborhood, the risk is you're going to be spending money for advertising and you're going to get very minimal return on your advertising. You might break even because farming is very effective if you stick with it long enough. And when I say this, so this last segment, what I want to really focus on here is the last little bit I want to focus on here is how you turn this audience, these people you've been marketing to, into clients, which without this farming doesn't make any sense. So the first thing, and this is the biggest problem people run into with farming, is this is not an overnight success. You're not an overnight success with farming. Yeah, like I said, again, you might get lucky with your advertising, maybe that first set of mailers that go out or Facebook ads or Google pay-per-click, and you get some good response to that. And maybe you do end up getting a deal off of it, but don't count on that. Don't rely on that. Farming is very much about the long term. So the way and this is a little bit overly protective, I would say, but what you should figure in for when you're first starting marketing in a new neighborhood is that you're planning on marketing in this neighborhood for a year without any deals being done. Marketing there for a year without any deals. Now, you're going to do everything you can to make sure that doesn't happen, but you want to plan for and budget for and understand that that's a possibility that could occur. You could market in this neighborhood for a year and you don't get anything. And maybe on month number 13 or 14 or 15, that's where you finally got a client that ends up actually being a deal. Now, ways you can kind of combat that is being higher skilled and higher trained, so when you do get these leads coming in, you don't blow it, so to say. That you don't mess it up and lose the business because of that. So rule number one, I've left this up here the whole time, 7 to 9 times for them to recognize you, and that goes right in line with what I just talked about, is that this is long term. So again, your plan needs to be long-term. You need to, and even if you've gone a year, maybe you've gone 2 years and you haven't gotten any business yet. Now, if you've gone 3 months and you're not getting any response from any of your advertising and whatnot, any of your mailers that you send out, any of your Facebook ads, any of the stuff it is that you're doing, that's where you've got to tweak that stuff. Make it a little bit more aggressive for the call to action maybe. Make it a little bit more compelling. Try to find out what that issue is with your advertising about the creative and try to fix that. Because you should be getting a response. Now, that response doesn't always necessarily translate into a deal, at least not today. So you have to remember that this is a long-term plan, and with persistence, that's going to ultimately win out in the end, is the persistence. Now, number 2. So number 1 is, again, making sure that you know that this is a long-term plan. Number 2, following up with inquiries. So this is especially important for the people that have been advertising on Zillow or Trulia or Realtor.com or these sites where you've got people basically with their finger on the trigger ready to go. They just need somebody to help them do it. That's the type of client it is that you're getting when you're paying for leads. Whereas when you're farming, what you're doing is you're reaching people probably before they even are it's even in their mind that they're ready to buy or sell a house yet. So that's what you have to keep in mind. The people that you're marketing to are not their finger on the trigger. They're not ready to go right this second, like when you're buying leads off of Zillow or Realtor.com or any of the sites it is that you're purchasing leads from. You're marketing to people who, they might want to buy or sell someday, but that someday isn't today. So you have to follow up with the inquiries, just like you're constantly marketing. And when you get somebody that calls you, great, now you've got their phone number in addition to their address or however it is that you've been reaching them with your advertising before. And now you could also ask them, hey, look, and I also do a newsletter for the neighborhood. Are you on that newsletter yet? Don't let them know that you're just started this newsletter and you have no one on there. You just ask them, hey, are you on that yet? No? Oh, well, here, let me get you on that neighborhood newsletter, keep you up to date with everything going on in the neighborhood or the market trends and whatever else it is that you're sending out in that. So now you've got 3 ways to market to them. You've already got whatever it is that you've been doing by address, by location that you're marketing to them, their address really. Now you just got their phone number because they called you. And number 3, you ask them for their email. And I've talked about this before. Not everyone always opens their email. Not everyone always answers their phone. A lot of times your mailings are just going to get thrown in the garbage. But when you combine all 3 of those together, you're hitting them from all angles. And you've got to be smart about this. You don't want to scare them off. You've got to kind of judge where it is that they are in the process. And you're just going to come across as a person. That's really all you are. You're just a person that wants to help them when they're ready. You're not there to talk them into, hey, yeah, you need to sell now. Oh, you don't want to sell now? Well, too bad. You need to sell now because I need to get paid. No, that's not what you're there to do. You're there to be their friend, to be their trusted advisor in all things real estate. And someday, they're going to be ready. Or they're going to be close to ready. And then you maybe just have to do a little bit to push them over the edge. But you have to gauge that. If they're these people that are kind of, I think I've been thinking about selling quite a bit. I actually talked to another realtor. That's a hot lead. That's somebody, okay, yeah, let's get on the phone. Let's maybe send them some text messages every so often. Talk about some stuff of, oh, well, what are you doing to get ready for the sale? What have you researched so far? When is it that you need to sell? Where is it that you're moving? Finding out this additional information so that way you're able to really kind of make this a more personalized relationship. And this is the benefit here. Yes, it is more work when you're getting in this early than if you're just getting, you basically just bought somebody that's ready to buy off of Zillow or Realtor.com. And again, those aren't even always ready to buy. They might be further down in this process as well. But typically with farming, they're the furthest down the road, or could be the furthest down the road. And again, you've got to pay attention to what, and even if it's early on where they call you up and say, yeah, because they're not going to call you if they're not thinking about buying or selling. Maybe they don't want to do it today, or they do want to do it someday, but for whatever reason, they called you. And not everyone that you send letters to and postcards to that says call me is going to call you. They only call you if they want to do business with you. So maybe they're starting to feel you out. It's something they've talked about. Maybe it's their spouse that's the one that's maybe not sure about selling yet, but they're pretty sure that they want to do it. They're just not ready to do it yet. Let's start the conversation. Let's talk about, okay, well, when do you want to move? When do you need to move? What are you looking at? Have you had any idea of maybe what do you think you could sell the house for? And just all the stuff to strike up the conversation, get more information, understand where it is that they're coming from, and now build that into a relationship. And that brings me into number 3, keep track of the info. And let's say of data. Keep track of the data. You're talking to, you're constantly staying in touch with these people it is that have arisen out of your farm area, and you're keeping track of that information it is that you've given them. So let's say you're a farmer, to go back to that analogy. If you go and water your plants, and they're only supposed to be watered once a week, and you go there the next day and you're like, oh, did I water them? Well, here, better just throw some more water on there. You're going to kill your plants. So if you don't keep track of the data on your clients, if you don't keep track of their reasons why they want to sell, the when they want to sell, how much they need to sell for, what their mortgage payoff is, all this information, you need that information. The information is key. If you have to keep asking them the same questions, they're going to say, this guy, this girl, they aren't professional. They don't even remember that I told them this. Every professional remembers what you tell them. It's not that you remember, it's that you've got that in a database, because in theory, you should have hundreds of clients. And it's hard to keep track of all these individual clients, and that's why you use a computer or a notebook or something to keep that down, to keep track of all that data it is that you gain over time. And that's really, these are the 3 rules. I want to keep it simple and keep it at that. If you remember, this is a long-term plan, 7 to 9 times just for them to recognize you. And then when you do get the inquiries, don't just say, oh, do you want to buy today? Nope, okay, bye. And just throw them out of your life for good. You're throwing that lead down the drain. So you've got to follow up with them. And now to have effective follow-up, you've got to keep track of all that data it is that you've collected. What it is that you talked about in your conversation. Do they have kids? Because you could ask them, oh, well, how's Billy doing? How's Billy's baseball? Is he still playing baseball? And all that information, just so you know. And really, this will help you jog your memory, because you might remember some of these things you talked about with them, but you want to have that on paper. Don't trust your mind, because your mind plays tricks on you. It's easy to forget this stuff if you're constantly not repeating it, which you won't be with this. So put it in your database, and you could use software for that, or use a website, you could use a old-fashioned notebook or file folders or whatever it is that you do, but whatever you do, make sure that you do keep track of that information. And that's really my 1 hour little synopsis this week of Ask the Instructor on farming. If you missed any part of this episode, make sure you go to tampaschool.com/success. That's tampaschool.com/success, 2 C's, 2 S's in that, SUCCESS. And then you'll be able to find the full recording of this episode, the full hour-long, unedited recording of all the information of what farming is, to how to pick the farm area, to how to market in that farm area, to how to turn these leads into clients and actually make some money off of this. So make sure you check that out. If you're thinking about starting, or maybe you've got to do continuing education or post-licensing or something, give us a call. That's what we're in business to do. That's how we make our money. We sell courses to not just make us money, but help make you money as well, especially with our post-licensing course. I know we've got another post-licensing deadline coming up in March. Our post-licensing courses are designed to go in depth with more real-world stuff. We don't have a strict syllabus from the FREC as much for the post-licensing course as we do for the pre-licensing course. So we have a lot more freedom of what it is that we could teach you, and we try to give you real-world stuff that's going to actually translate to success in your business. So definitely check all that out. Or if you're looking to get your real estate license, we have, in my opinion, the best real estate licensing course in the world. We just launched this new platform back in last October, and we've had amazing results with it ever since then. It's really changing the game with online courses. So check that all out at tampaschool.com, or if you have any questions, give us a call. The phone number is 813-928-0106. Again, that's 813-928-0106. Our advisors are standing by to answer any questions you have and assist you in any way it is that they can. Subscribe and like the show so that way you get updates. The best place to subscribe is on our Success Center, tampaschool.com/success. You drop your email in there whenever it is that we go live. We're going to send you an email that lets you know, hey, we're giving out all kinds of real estate knowledge today. Make sure you tune in. And that's every Wednesday at 12 noon. We do Ask the Instructor. Make sure you guys tune in on Friday for State of Real Estate. That's also at 12 noon. We talk a little bit more about masterminding to grow your real estate business. But that's all I've got for you guys today. Thank you for tuning in. Go out there, implement some of this information, and go make some money.
Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com.
Does your current career allow for unlimited income potential? With a career in real estate, the sky is the limit. What you put in is what you get out. Find out more about how you can tap into the unlimited income potential of a career in real estate at tampaschool.com.
Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You are watching
Ask the Instructor. Every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern Time. I'm John Chrismo. You're watching Ask the Instructor.